As the states engage in redistricting or redrawing the district lines, we have to keep in mind that this process is done every 10 years, whether your state gains or loses a member in the United States House of Representatives, because even though a state may not gain or lose a member of the House of Representatives, population may have shifted within their state, and the number of people that each member of the House of Representatives changes every 10 years. So this process of redrawing the district lines has to be done every 10 years in every state. And again, it is important to understand here that the reapportionment process is done by the federal government, but redistricting is done by each individual state. That's an important thing to understand. When the states do this redistricting process, there is generally one of two ways that the states will do it. They will either use what's called a commission to redraw the district lines, or they will allow their state legislature to redraw the district lines. The commission process is one in which private citizens are selected to redraw the district lines. Commissions are becoming more popular because you are allowing a private citizen that is not really impacted by the district lines to redraw them. If you use the other option, which is allowing the state legislatures to redraw the district lines, then you have state legislators who are directly impacted by the district lines redrawing the district lines. So the idea of using the commission is to allow private citizens to do it, but most states still let their state legislatures redraw the district lines. We need to keep in mind that regardless of whether you use the commission or the state legislature process, most of the power in redrawing the district lines is still going to sit with the two major political parties in this country, Democrats and Republicans. Because if you are selecting members to be on the commission, you're going to want to have that commission be as bipartisan as possible, and bipartisan means members of both major parties. If you use the state legislature to redraw the district lines, 99% of all members of state legislatures are either Democrats or Republicans. So either method is going to be biased towards the two major political parties, Democrats and Republicans. And since the two major parties play such a role in redrawing the district lines, third parties have a very hard time of gaining any traction. Because if I'm a Democrat and I'm redrawing the district lines, I'm going to redraw those district lines in a way that's going to make sure that the Democrats are protected. Maybe the courts are going to come along and say, well, you need to redraw those lines because you're protecting Democrats too much. So as a Democrat, I don't mind redrawing the district lines in a way that protects the current Democrats and the current Republicans. But I definitely do not want to draw the district lines in a way that are going to allow a third party to become very powerful. So if a third party starts to become powerful in a certain district, the two major parties, the Democrats and Republicans, will get together and say, we need to split those third party members up into separate districts. This redistricting process is very, very heavily influenced by political parties, and therefore redistricting process is one of the most controversial processes that will be conducted every 10 years. If you want to take a look at how complicated this redistricting process can be, if you want to see how manipulative people can be when redrawing the district lines, go to this website that's listed on the screen, redistrictinggame.org. And it will give you these interactive assignments where you have to redraw the district lines, and you'll have to redraw the district lines one time so that you have 9 districts or something like that. Then they'll say, well, we want you to create 9 districts, and we want you to make 8 of those districts Democratic and one of them Republican, or you want to switch it back and forth, or we want you to draw the district lines in a way that has an equal number of Democratic and Republican districts. You can do all of these redistricting options, according to this game, without shifting any of the population. Populations continue to live where they do, but what you do in this game is you move these imaginary district lines. And if I am the one that's in charge of redrawing these district lines, this game will show you that you can manipulate those lines in a way that benefit one party over another, or it can benefit the two major political parties while hurting third parties. This redistricting process is a very controversial process. Take a look at this redistricting game website. I think you'll find it interesting. As we said, redrawing the district lines can be a very delicate, very controversial process. And if you redraw the district lines in a certain way, you can give one party a huge advantage over another. And when you redraw the district lines in a way to benefit one party over another, you're engaging in what's called gerrymandering. If I draw the district lines in a very strange way, in a strange shape, so that I can put a lot of Democrats in one district and split Republicans up into separate districts, with the intention of helping the Democrats and hurting the Republicans, that's called gerrymandering. And gerrymandering is illegal. And to give you a demonstration and explain to you how gerrymandering works, I have made up some sample or some fictitious maps. Let's pretend that the state of Missouri is going to redistrict. And here's a map of Missouri. And I've created some fictitious districts. You'll notice that there are 7 districts on that map. 3 of those districts are controlled by Republicans, and 4 of those districts are controlled by Democrats. So since the Democrats have a majority, they're going to be the ones that are in control of drawing the new district lines. And if you look at that map closely, there are 2 red splotches. And let's assume that those red splotches represent large populations of Democrats. You'll notice that the red splotch in District 3 is separated by the red splotch in District 5. That's why District 3 is made up of Republican representation. Because while there's a large number of Democrats in that very tight area in District 3, the majority of the people in District 3 are Republicans. And you have the same problem for the Democrats in District 5. There's a lot of Democrats who live together in a very tight area, but the majority of the people in that district are Republicans. If I'm the Democrats, and I have a majority, and I'm going to be the ones redrawing the district lines, what I would do if I wanted to gerrymander is I would redraw the district lines in this way. If you'll notice, I simply took the line separating District 3 and District 5, and I erased it. And I redrew a new line which encompassed both splotches of Democrats. We still have 7 districts on the map there. But what we have done is we have taken these 2 groups of Democrats that were separated into different districts, and we've brought them together into the same district. And we've done that just so that we can now create a district, District 5, that is made up of majority Democrats, and therefore the representative elected from District 5 after we change the district lines will always be a Democrat. If you'll notice in this redistricting example, we didn't cause people to move from one place to another. They're still living in the same location. We simply took an imaginary district line and we redrew it. And if you look at that new district number 5, we had to draw that district line in such a grotesque way that District 5 is shaped so oddly compared to the rest. That would be called gerrymandering. And gerrymandering is illegal if you're doing it to benefit one party over another. If you do not understand the concept of gerrymandering, make sure you ask a question. Okay, make sure you email me. Make sure you read the section in the textbook. Gerrymandering is an important concept. To finish up our discussion about redistricting, we need to keep in mind that when a state redistricts, they're doing more than just redrawing congressional lines. When a state is redistricting, they are actually redrawing the U.S. House of Representatives district lines. They're also redrawing the district lines for state districts, such as the State House of Representatives and the State Senate district. And some states even redraw other district lines. But as we look at these images, when the state of Missouri just went through their redistricting process, they had to redraw the U.S. House district lines. They also redrew the Missouri House of Representative district lines, and they redrew the Missouri Senate district lines. So the process is a very complicated, controversial one, and it becomes very, very detailed when you're breaking the state down into 163 Missouri House of Representative districts or the 34 state Senate districts. Now, we got to realize that when we look at these maps on the screen, the district map to the left that shows the U.S. House district lines, those are the lines that were redrawn in 2000 when we had 9 members of the U.S. House of Representatives. Right now, there's a new map of the state of Missouri that only has 8 U.S. House of Representative district lines. But the map of Missouri's House of Representative districts looks a little bit different than the one on the screen, but there's still 163 districts. And the Missouri State Senate district map still looks similar to one on the screen, because there are still 34 Missouri State Senate districts, but the State Senate districts have changed a little bit because when we redistrict, population shift, and we have to make sure that each of those districts are approximately the same size. In other words, we have to make sure that each of the 34 Missouri State Senate districts are approximately the same size. Each of the 163 Missouri House of Representative districts are approximately the same size. And each of Missouri's 8 U.S. House Representative districts are approximately the same size. So you're doing all 3 of these districting processes at the same time. And the state of Missouri is a little bit unique because the state of Missouri uses the commission process to redraw congressional district lines, but they let the state legislature redraw the Missouri House of Representatives and the Missouri State Senate district lines. So Missouri is a little bit different than other states.